He stared at the crossroads, his heart pounding. One path promised 5 years of relentless effort, discipline, and discomfort. The other promised 40 years of regret, mediocrity, and what-ifs. Most would choose comfort. Most would fail. But he made a choice. He chose pain over regret. He chose sacrifice over ease. That single decision would define the rest of his life. The world around him seemed to move in slow motion, friends laughing, partying, chasing fleeting pleasures, oblivious to the future being written in quiet moments of effort. He felt the weight of every decision pressing down on him, a storm of fear and doubt threatening to pull him back toward comfort. Yet he breathed deeply and stepped forward. Every great life begins with a choice. He knew that the pain of the next 5 years would sting, but the freedom of the next 40 would reward exponentially. As he walked toward the uphill path, his eyes caught the fleeting shadows of others enjoying temporary pleasure, unaware that time was quietly stealing their future. He imagined himself in 10, 20, 40 years, wondering if he would wish he had done more, pushed harder, disciplined better. That vision fueled him. His first step was small, almost invisible, skipping a night of games to study, skipping a casual outing to learn skills that didn't pay immediately. The discomfort was real, the loneliness palpable, but every step planted a seed for something greater. He understood something profound. Delayed gratification is a weapon, invisible yet devastating in its impact on a lifetime. While others sought applause, he built leverage. While they chased fleeting highs, he built foundations. Each hour of work, each moment of focus, each act of self-discipline was invisible to the world, but priceless for his future. His mind raced with questions. Would it work? Could he endure? What if the sacrifice never paid off? Yet, for the first time, fear became clarity. Pain now, reward later. He imagined a future where he would be free, financially, mentally, emotionally, a life untethered from regret, a life built on skill, persistence, and courage. He smiled to himself, almost imperceptibly, feeling the power of choice. Every step forward felt lighter than the regret he had narrowly avoided. And so he began the climb, small steps, deliberate, intentional, because greatness demands sacrifice.
He thought the decision would make everything easier, but the pain began immediately. The alarm rang at 5 a.m. while the world was still asleep. His friends mocked his discipline, calling him obsessed and extreme. He watched them enjoy easy nights while he wrestled with his doubts in silence. There were nights he questioned whether sacrifice was just self-torture in disguise. Results were invisible, progress painfully slow. Money didn't come. Applause didn't come. Validation didn't come. But discipline came. Skill came. Focus came. Every painful morning was compounding quietly in his favor. He began to understand a brutal truth. Comfort pays instantly, but growth pays exponentially. Each hour of sacrifice was a deposit into a future no one else could see, and slowly, almost invisibly, he stopped craving shortcuts. The pain was still there, but now it felt purposeful, because he realized something powerful. 5 years of focused pain builds a lifetime of leverage.
One random afternoon, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, but it was powerful. He noticed that what once felt hard now felt normal. Waking up early no longer required a battle. Studying no longer felt like punishment. Discipline had become identity. Then came the first small win. A client said yes. A payment notification flashed. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was proof. Proof that effort compounds. Proof that sacrifice converts. Proof that delayed gratification works. In that moment, fear disappeared. Not because success had arrived, but because certainty had. He finally understood the real secret. The first 5 years aren't about money. They're about becoming the person money chases.
By year 3, the results were no longer invisible, and the seeds he planted in silence began breaking through the surface of his life. The skills he practiced in obscurity now solved problems most people didn't even understand. Opportunities that once felt distant suddenly appeared within reach, as if the world had quietly taken notice of his preparation. Emails turned into meetings, and meetings turned into contracts that steadily built momentum. For the first time, money flowed not because he chased it, but because he had become valuable. The same friends who once laughed at his sacrifices now asked him how he got lucky. He smiled, knowing luck had nothing to do with waking up at 5 a.m. for years. Luck had nothing to do with sacrificing weekends to sharpen skills while others relaxed. Income increased, but more importantly, leverage increased and choices expanded. He could now choose projects instead of begging for them and walk away from bad deals without fear. Confidence replaced insecurity, and clarity replaced confusion. Then came the twist. The pain didn't disappear, it evolved into higher standards and bigger goals. But this time, the pain felt strategic because he finally understood the formula. Short-term discomfort creates long-term leverage. Leverage creates freedom, and freedom eliminates regret.
He had endured 5 long years of relentless effort, discomfort, and quiet struggle. The sacrifices that once felt unbearable now felt priceless. The boy who once feared missing out now feared wasting potential. His income no longer depended on luck, trends, or other people's approval. It depended on skill, refined over years of practice. It depended on discipline, cultivated when no one was watching. It depended on leverage, quietly built in lonely hours. He could work when he wanted, rest when he wanted, and choose projects freely. He could walk away from bad deals without fear. He could invest in opportunities instead of scrambling for survival. One quiet evening, he imagined a different timeline, 40 years of comfort, mediocrity, and silent regret. A life without struggle would have been safe, but unremarkable. 40 years of regret weighed heavily, and he shivered imagining it. He smiled, knowing the pain he once hated had saved him, because 5 years of focused sacrifice had bought 40 years of freedom. In that moment, he understood the ultimate truth. Pain is temporary, regret is permanent.